Everyone see okay? Okay. So the way that I do this, because let's be honest, going back to find that email is never fun. So the way that I do this is I just go to the search bar here and I just type scholarship because it's the first thing that pops up when you do that. So, once it loads here, it's the first one that pops up, if y'all can see that, scholarship manager. So you just go into there, and every time I mess up and try to click things up here, you got to go all the way down and you got to click into the login for student. So is it keeping up okay? I don't want to like go too fast and it's like loading on your end. Okay. So I'm not going to go into this too far just because it's my information, but that's how you get here, right? So back on that other page though that I showed you all where you find the scholarship, there is actually a video right here on the right side. A little dense, a little boring, but you can kind of skip through to just kind of see some of the steps on that part. However, let's see, I don't think there's anything wrong with my letters of rec here. Yeah, so you've got your letters of recommendation are going to be one of the bigger things you need to keep in mind. Most of the stuff in the beginning is pretty straightforward, things like, name, birthday, all that. However, in the beginning, whenever you get to that portion where you're looking at like that first page, it's also going to ask you for like your GPA and things like that. It's actually super easy to find because let me go back here. Let me just close out of this real quick. And I'm a bouncer. Like I said, since this is more casual, I bounce around. If you start getting lost because of that, please let me know. Anyway, so sorry, I got distracted by admitting people. So anyway, yeah, what was I saying? Okay, let me show you where you get there. So you connect is where you want to go. Following me? To get to your degree plan, to get to your grades and the things you need for that, go to UConnect. Let me see, someone have a question on here? Okay, cool. All right, and if you all have a question, since I'm the one like running all of this right now, feel free to interrupt me because I'll try to keep track of that chat, but if it's something that you need me to pause on, just shout out. So when you get to UConnect, go to academics, and right here, just kind of like barely scrolling down your degree plan, that's everything you need for the scholarship portal. That's it pretty much. They're going to ask you for your stellar snapshot too, which I'll show you that in a minute. But all you need as far as your like transcript for this one, the degree plan typically works. So, oh, thank you, Liz. Awesome. Yeah. So if you have questions in the chat, Liz can answer those for you or get those to me too. Thanks. All right. Anyway, so I don't think you can see because for some reason this always wants to crash out on me. You got to get your worksheet to actually kind of load on you first. One day.
Mine never loads. I just have to save it as a PDF.
Exactly, yeah, because that's what you're gonna have to do. Usually, like some people, it never loads. Like when I go to try to help Becca with hers, it never loads, but mine usually does. Yeah, so up here, if you, I know it's blank right now, but somewhere generally up here, there's like a print button. Go to print it, but then just save it as a PDF instead of the actual printing of it. And then you can save it to your system. If you end up needing help with that for any reason, let me know, let Liz know, let any of us know, and we can help you get that downloaded. So that's what you're gonna need to do first. You're gonna need your degree plan, so you can save that. Hey Liz, since you're keeping an eye on chat, do you mind just putting these little bullet points down for them so that they have that checklist on there? I think she said yes.
Absolutely.
Cool, thanks. So yes, so starting with, you want to make sure you pull your degree plan. So you need that. You go, and then all the way down here, you're also going to need your stellar snapshot. Let me move you all out of my way here. Yeah, so stellar snapshot. You need that. This is kind of fun. You can kind of play around with this. it's going to show you, and yeah, you can look at mine, I don't care. It's going to show you what you have. And so like most of mine, of course, is global cultural competencies. I've got all exposures. I got into Stellar so late. This is why we try to get you all into it as soon as you get in. I got into it right before I graduated with my undergrad, and it shows because I have like nothing on it. So, but you can click into each of these, right? And it'll show you your experiences within that. So, and you can adjust them. You can hide things that you don't want to show. You can move things up that you want to be at the forefront. See, like you can, these are all numbered. So you can just order them how you want people to see, right? So like if you're trying to apply for specific types of scholarships that are in your field, you might need more. I don't know. I'm humanities, right? So pretty much any of these cultural global competencies look pretty good for the things that I would want to apply for and stuff for humanities. But they may not be as strong for you if you're in like a science or something. They might look more at some of your other things, but all of it's going to matter. So just play with that and set it up to the way that you want to show yourself, right? Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Question?
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
As a senior, do the scholarships change, like the process change for us since we're seniors?
Oh, okay. Are you going into like your last year or you're not graduating yet, right?
No.
Okay. It doesn't really, so the process itself, as far as the scholarship portal, it doesn't really change. That stays pretty much consistent for all students. Now, we'll need to probably get together one-on-one about this, because for you it's going to be a matter of figuring out, like what's your plan after school, right? So for you it's going to be a little different, and like you're going to be planning more of where you're going past this, but the actual scholarship portion of it, the core of it's the same. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, we can schedule some time after this and talk about that stuff. All right. So the other thing you can do here also, like I was mentioning, you might have some things that stick out more. For like example, if you're in some health program, right, you're probably going to want to put this up top. So it just depends on how you want that to look. So does that answer? Oh, and then you can come down here and save your stellar snapshot. Let's see if I can. It shows you the different versions that you have, right? So you can like choose what you want to be your primary, and when you view it, you can save it, print it, or whatever, So if you have any more detailed questions that you need help with on getting your stellar snapshot set up, or if you want to sit down individually to kind of go over how to set yours up, how you want it to look, again, let us know. We can schedule some time through Zoom to sit down and go over that. And I'm going to also say, the reason that we're doing this right now at this time so early is because you need to get on it like yesterday. I don't know why they dropped the portal at the very beginning of the semester, but they do. Yes, Courtney.
So my stellar, I'm sorry about my cat. My stellar looks awful. Like I didn't even earn credits until this last semester. And so far I have like 1 credit. So how much is that going to affect getting a scholarship? Because I didn't even know what stellar was until I was a mentor.
Good question. It depends, because so the scholarship portal, the way it works, right? I don't know why I saw this in my ear. I just realized that I'm hearing you all through my computer, not even my ear. So the scholarship portal, it's basically the central hub for like all of UCO scholarships and like their connected scholarships, right? So it's going to connect you with scholarships that relate to you. And you just apply for all of those, right? So yeah, technically there may be some it affects, like anything that's related to getting scholarships for anything connected to transformative learning might be a little hard. But there are plenty of other scholarships that that you could still pick up on. I filled out, I don't know, 7 to 8 different scholarships last year. I got 1 or 2 of the little bitty, like 250 here, 500 there, but they help, so just, it's not, I don't think it's not gonna kill your chances if that. So, all righty. So yes, stellar snapshot. You need that. You need your degree plan. Yes. Questions so far, other than the stellar stuff, or if stellar stuff, if there's more. So let's see. The other thing that you're going to need beyond your scholarship, and that, of course, is going to be your recommendations, and that's the other thing that takes some time, right? So for this specific portal, you're going to need two different kinds of recommendations. You're going to need at least 2 recommendations from faculty at UCO, and at least 1 recommendation outside of UCO. So if you don't know the details of like how to ask about recommendations, I'm going to give you the general overview, but again, we can meet up, go over more detail if you need some help with that. But basically, what you're needing for the letters of recommendation is time. You need to give your professors time, and you need to respect that. Even if they helped you last year, you still need to ask again this year, right? So like every year, it's just respectful to send out an email, asking politely if they are willing to represent you again or for the first time. If you're a freshman and you've only got 1 semester under your belt, we can help you connect with those professors that you are wanting to get for letters of recommendation. It's always good to get the highest you can. Of course, that's just the way the world is. So if you happen to have had a professor that happens to also be like the dean of a college or something, typically that can look a little better, but also focusing on faculty that is within your field, but also it's good to have a balance, right? Like I tried to get someone from my field, but I also tried to look maybe in like a course that if I took like I pretty much did all liberal arts. So it's a little difficult for me with my undergrad stuff, but maybe you want to do like a science professor and an English professor or something. So those are really important to start like today. But realistically, like first thing next week, you probably want to send out those emails or today before you get to your weekend. Again, we can help you get those written. We can help you figure out how to word it and everything. If you've got any stress about that, please let us know. So the last recommendation you need from someone outside. Now, oftentimes people want to use like their family members. Typically, that just doesn't look as professional. People that are looking at scholarships, interviews, things like that, they want to see that you have made connections, networked with people outside of where you just work or go to school. They want to see that you're able to to do these things in the real world or whatever. So it's good to get maybe like an old boss or even like an old family friend that maybe you babysat for or something like that, just something where you can like show volunteer hours, things like that. Questions about that right now? Because that's a lot.
So can it be like any part if you had an old job or something?
Yeah. So for that second one, they just want you to be outside of UCO, right? So try to find a good professional professional reference outside of UCO. Yeah, that should work perfectly fine. Because look at it this way, they're selling you. You want money, they're speaking on your behalf. You want to pick someone that has the best credentials that outside of the school to say that, hey, I can vouch for this person. They're good for their word. You can trust that giving them this money is going to have a positive return. So
How much do they take those into account? Because my recommendations were the political science chair at OCCC, Dr. C, and Denis. Those were my letters of recommendations, and I only got 1 scholarship.
So there's a lot of little, it depends on the scholarship, of course. The thing is, there are a lot of private and smaller scholarships, and it's their money, right, that they choose to provide. So they make the rules essentially of what they want to give. So it is kind of discouraging sometimes. That's good that you bring that up, because you may have amazing recommendations. You may have just amazing documentation in general and not get some scholarships. It doesn't mean that you suck. It means that you just got to do more. It's like applying for jobs. You're probably gonna be turned down, 5 times before you get one offer. It's the same thing with the scholarships. Sometimes you just don't get picked, and a lot of times it's who gets done first. That's why we're really trying to get on this now, and that's why same with FAFSA. Why we try to get you all to get on that sooner. It's once it's gone, it's gone. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's just I don't.
But we can, if it helps, Jonathan, we can still, when we get together about the other stuff, we can also talk about how to shape up your essays and your scholarship or your scholarship application to look more how they want to look. Maybe last year's there was a disconnect, so we can look at that and see maybe if there was something missing there that you just didn't see or whatnot, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Jason,
yeah.
can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
So something that some students do is when you ask your recommender to write for you, sometimes you give them a little highlight, right? It may be your resume. It may be some things you want them to speak to. And sometimes that helps them guide it a little bit more. So if you want, sometimes your folks and Jonathan, I can't say anything about your recommenders because they're top of the line folks. But I think in general, so maybe not speaking to your case, but for other folks, sometimes just kind of say, hey, these are the parameters of the scholarship, and these are the points that I know that you could speak well about me and maybe could highlight. So sometimes that is helpful too.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because that is actually something I didn't know until like 2 days ago. So we're always learning these things. Did you have something, Courtney?
So the only other person I can think of other than like one of my professors who's pretty like high up and important in my department is my pageant director, because he's known me for 3 years and like he knows all the scholarship, like all the volunteer work I do and stuff like that. Would he be okay to have as a recommendation?
That would be probably, I would say, a phenomenal outside of UCO recommendation. Yeah, no, that's great. Those are great questions. Yes, so letter of recommendations. There was another one I needed to remind you all to get started on sooner rather than later. Liz, help me out. If you remember, brain's not working. So you need your letter of recs. You need your my degree plan or scholar or transcript, and you need your stellar snapshots. You're gonna need to write an essay, kind of. So it's a little like, I think it's 250 words or something max. So it's like a paragraph, but you got to sell yourself, right? It's like, why do you need this money? That's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for me. You don't want to, people often don't want to like make that claim, right? It's not the most comfortable thing to go out there and be like, oh, I need this money because this, and this. We don't want to admit some things sometimes, right? Society tells us to kind of just figure it out. But you need to put all that stuff down. When I wrote mine, like, yeah, did COVID actually take away my income and make me like live on the streets? No, but it did have an effect, right? And so when you're writing your essay, you want to make sure that you're being truthful in that, right? So you pay rent, you pay all these bills. Yeah, maybe you get some help from your parents, but you're paying those bills, you're doing that work. Put that in there, because the more that you're expressing your need, the more they're gonna catch that. So when you write that essay, it's a little, like I said, I say essay, that I think that's what they put on there. It's literally like a 250 word little paragraph thing. Same thing, we can help you with that. You can send it to us, we can look it over before you actually post that in. So do you have questions about the essay snippet there?
Is there like a general one we should make, or should we just tailor it to whatever we're looking at the time?
That's a good question. I think for the one that they put in the base application, it needs to be general, because that one is just your overall case, right? Now, because there are going to be certain scholarships that are going to still need an actual essay, and those will be the ones that you're going to really focus what you're like needing for that. I don't think it would hurt, you want to make it unique. You want to make it about you. I don't think it's gonna, Liz, I don't know if you have anything to add on that portion of it when it comes to writing the mini essay part.
No, I would just say exactly what Raven has said. Highlight the parts that are distinctly you. Also, anything you think is going to make you stand out, right? Don't be afraid to own your awesomeness. A lot of times we're very, very humble, but this is a time to really show how you stand out differently.
Mhm. Exactly. Does that answer that?
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. All righty. So I'm going to stop sharing this so I can go pull this up real quick, my application, and make sure that I'm getting everything covered for you all. Review your answers. I don't need to manage that. Okay. So, right. So your basic info, your address, your year. Okay. So all of that information, I mentioned you'll need your degree plan. It's going to ask you on like the second page that you're on, it's going to ask you about your year, your classification and stuff. I don't have anything crazy on this, so I'll show you real quick. I don't think I have anything in. There we go. Okay. Okay, I'll see that. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks. Okay, so the academic information. So on your degree plan, it'll have all this information, and we can help you look over that if you would like some help with that. But it's going to have, like you're going to need your level, what year you're in, your major, what you're enrolled in. Some of this will be auto-filled if you've already done this before. Like for me, all of this was auto-filled in already because I had done this last year. So some of it, sometimes it gets auto-filled in there. So you're going to need all that information from that. And then it's going to ask you a lot of random questions like, are you enlisted in the military? Do you provide your own financial support? Sometimes those questions can be confusing because you may not know the answer to it. And again, if that's the case, please reach out to us. That is what we're here for. All right. Here's the other big piece that I knew I was missing out. So the final thing, let me make sure it's the final thing on this. All right, yeah. So the final main thing I wanted to make sure that you all were aware of well in advance is your activities and awards. So as Liz was saying earlier, if you want to sell yourself, basically. Sounds bad, but you want to put your what you've been accomplishing forward. And so the activities and awards are pretty important for that. And I'll show you mine. I don't have very many because I got started late. So hence why it's very important to get involved as early as you can. All right. Y'all can see my activities and awards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest, Liz may be a little bit more comfortable on this side. I myself, I am still really kind of fumbling my way through how to properly put down how this should look. So don't go off of mine necessarily. But essentially, this is how you're doing it. You want to put down like what you're involved in or what you've been involved in, the positions that you held, when you held them, and, and just think of everything. Like, I'll be honest, I struggle to talk about myself. I really do. So it took me a long time to think of things. And I remembered I had back in high school, I had won like this Silver Key Scholastic Art Award, so far away, and it feels like it doesn't matter, but every little thing matters. Because that's one little thing that they might be like, oh, that's, those are all unique things that make your journey and make you marketable. So questions about that part?
I did have a question. So like for instance, I'm in BMI.
Yeah.
So should we put more than I'm a mentor in Black Male Initiative?
Liz, if you're cool with it, I'm gonna let you, if you don't mind, kind of talking on this a little more. This is not my area of comfort. I'm so sorry, people.
Sure. So yeah, I think depending on, I know that there are a few of you in here who are mentors in initiative programs. I think you definitely would put down that you are a mentor, but you may also want to talk about um, the selection process, right? A lot of times. Okay, so I was a top senior for 2018. That doesn't mean anything to some people who might be looking at that. But if I say that I was selected as one of 10 in my senior in the entire school for the year of 2018, all of a sudden that puts that into perspective, you know. So if you say that as a mentor, you are one of 13 or one of 20 in the entire program, and you're tasked with providing support, serving as a resource, kind of amping it up a little bit. It's not lying because it's what you do. But it allows them, there might be people who have never heard of BMI on campus. Bless them if they haven't. But or NASI, right? And so we want them to be able to say, in a nutshell, you want to make it clear and concise for them. What do you do? Why is that awesome that you are this person? Um, and I am a very verbose person. What a surprise, right? If you can make it kind of clear and concise, so it's like a one drop, and it's like boom, there you are. That is really helpful, and that's something that we are definitely, Raven and I are definitely happy to meet with and to kind of help you craft those things. Um, but I don't know if that helps any, Jonathan.
Oh, my bad, I was muted. Yeah, it does, because it's just like when we're doing the activities and things, like my first one, I just put I was the treasurer in NASA, and I don't know. I wanted, and then I looked at BMI, and then I put the same thing, but then I was like, it's a little bit more intricate than just I'm a mentor in Black Male Initiative. Like I didn't feel like that was like doing justice to the responsibility of being a mentor in BMI for as long as I've been a mentor in BMI, or being the treasurer of NASA, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And especially like if you are a president, a vice president, or a treasurer in any organization, those are the roles that need to be filled. So they're vital. And if you have been entrusted as president, vice president, or treasurer, that means that people think that you're here for the real work and here for the long haul. So yeah, definitely.
I might need to meet up with y'all then to kind of spice up the my answer details of these programs and stuff I'm involved in.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna probably need a nice little, like all three of us to get together on Zoom, probably, huh? Got you. What's up, Courtney? Do you have a question too, or?
Yeah, so I'm not as involved in school as I am outside of school, but I also was more involved at my first university than I am here because of work and everything now. How far back can we go as when it comes to like involvement and like the stuff that we're involved in or have been involved in within like the last year or so?
Yes, sorry, I'm trying to like think back on some of the things that we could possibly utilize, but yes, in short, there we could look at some of the different things, and also those things outside of the school are good too. I mean, it's just involvement in general, right? There are a lot of people that don't get involved on campus, but have a lot of volunteer involvement. And when you look at the app, at the scholarships, and actually I can show you that too. Because when you're looking at the scholarships, you're going to have so many different types of opportunities that some of them do actually relate more to what you're doing outside of school, right? So if y'all could see this, there's like, I've got one here that's about military. I've got, you know, some that are straight out of high school, some that are alumni, you know, so as you're reading through these, you'll be able to kind of like pick the ones that that you can work with, that fit what you're wanting to do. But I don't think it hurts to apply for those others still, because one of the biggest misconceptions is that, you know, people think that they're not good enough and then they just don't apply. And more often than not, I mean, if you look, there's so many, more often than not, people don't even apply. And so if you're the one person that applies, you're going to get it. And it may not be a lot of money, but you get 5 or 6 little mini scholarships, 100 here, 200 there. It's also going to show you, so these are just your available, but automatically will enter you into scholarships that application works for. So I automatically got entered into 11 scholarships just by filling out that basic portal application. So you have a lot of opportunity to get that. Does that help or answer?
Kind of, but Denise talked about in the chat that I can go like as far back, like my whole college intern. Because there were some things I was involved with for like 4 years, and then like this last year I wasn't involved because we don't have a chapter on campus. Like I was like vice president and social media correspondent for a magazine, and then I was like, you know, involved in my sorority and stuff like that. So I have all that experience, but I wasn't able to get involved because some of those things are not here at the university.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely just about how you present yourself. Like again, like Liz was saying, you just put you're literally like you're literally selling yourself. So use that information. It's true. You obviously have the skills from it, right? So the whole point is you're giving your truth, and then you're gonna show them that that's true. So yeah, definitely use all that information.
My question about the transcript. Since the charges have already been done for the semester, how would we get our transcript?
The degree plan. Since it's that's what, yeah, in the beginning, that's what I was saying. That degree plan is fine for the UCO portal one. Now, that being said, there are probably going to be scholarships outside of that you'll need a transcript for, at which case you can get with the bursar to temporarily have that hold lifted if you need to get those transcripts, at which case I would suggest, if you're able to, physically go pick them up after you get that hold lifted, because then you can get them to print off multiple and officially seal them and everything, and then you have, you know, enough for all of the scholarships that you're wanting to apply for. If you do it virtually, you're going to be paying each individual scholar, you're going to be paying for each individual form. Now, I recognize it's kind of hard with COVID to get in here and physically get them printed, but basically it just depends on the individual scholarship outside of UCO. But for the portal, the degree plan's fine.
Yeah, well, I just tried to like save it, and it keeps saying like error. Should I use a different web browser?
Yeah, I would try that. I would also, I feel like this happens weird. I would also give it a little bit. Maybe give it till Monday if it's still not working after you try a couple different web browsers. And if it's still not working Monday, let me know, because then we might need to email IT or something and see if something is, if it's the system or if it's something on your side that we can get fixed.
Okay.
So, but you should be able to pool, you know, the other information. It'll save. So, and you can go back and forth. So you can jump in there and start working on like your essay or your recommendations. Also, recommendation, maybe think of that. It's a little different. So when they do the recommendation, because some professors, or if you're asking people outside, it's not, it's its own little thing. So it's going to send them a link and they're going to answer some questions, but there's also a place for like a recommendation letter that they can post. So they don't necessarily have to physically write you a recommendation letter. They just need to be on the lookout for this link to go follow the steps on there. So if they ask you about that, let them know that. Um, or we can, if you need help with that, we can help too.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that pretty much covers the overview of how to get your application going. With all of that, just everything as a whole, what questions do y'all have, if any, right now?
I just got done applying for a scholarship, or like I guess I went to the scholarships foundation or something. That how long does it usually take for someone to review it and all that?
So most of the reviews are probably not really going to happen until after the portal closes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would just be on the lookout. Usually you find out, it depends on the scholarship partially, but you'll
Yeah.
get an email. Mine staggered in. I think I waited a couple weeks after it closed and I got like one little update that was like, hey, congrats, you got this. Or so I
Okay.
would just keep an eye on your email for pretty much the rest of the semester after
Yeah.
you put that in. And whatever you get, they'll inform you if you got it or not.
Okay. Like whenever you got the email, like did it show you what scholarships you could apply for?
Yeah. So, okay. Oh, that's a good question too. So when you finish your scholarship application, so at the very top here, you've got your application, right? So after you finish your application, it'll tell you at the very end of it to go to your opportunities next. And so you can just go scroll back up to the top and click my opportunities. And that's how you get to the page where I'm at. So almost instantly, it might take a minute to update, but pretty quick after you finish it, you'll be able to look at your opportunities. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Of course.
I have a question also. If you have more than one person, like off campus, that would write a letter of recommendation for you, should we put as many on there as we can?
The more, the merrier. I told you the bare minimum of what they want you to have, but it's always good to have more people in your corner, because the more people that are vouching for you, it's more likely you'll get stuff out of it. So it's a good question though.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything that's really stressing or pressing you about it right now?